Sirius is a binary star system located approximately 8.6 light-years from Earth. Modern science confirmed its binary nature in 1862 when American astronomer Alvan Clark identified it using a homemade telescope. However, an isolated tribe in West Africa had intricate knowledge of this star system long before this discovery, attributing their knowledge to celestial visitors they described as fish-like beings, the Nommos. Marcel Griaule, an anthropologist, he hoped to find traces of ancient humans beneath this vast expanse of sand. After several months of trekking, Marcel Griaule found a group of people living on cliff edges. They were called the Dogon. It was clear that this Dogon tribe had not been touched by modern civilization. Their housing, clothing, and lifestyle all adhered to ancient customs. These isolated tribespeople told Griaule that Sirius is a binary star with a binary period of about 50 years. The unseen star is very dense. Griaule was astonished and wondered how this tribespeople had acquired such knowledge. Sirius is a very bright star in the night sky, easily visible to the naked eye. It is about 8.6 light-years away from Earth. In ancient Greek astronomy, Sirius is part of the Canis Major constellation. As long as there are no clouds, this bright star can be seen from any location on Earth. However, it wasn't until 1862 that American astronomer Alvan Clark, using a homemade telescope, first saw the binary nature of Sirius. People then realized that Sirius was a pair of stars. But because they are so close together, ordinary telescopes cannot distinguish them, making them appear as one star. Modern astronomers name these two stars Sirius A and Sirius B. Sirius A is the primary star, a blue-white star, while Sirius B is its companion star, similar in size to Earth but a white dwarf. A white dwarf is a type of star that is not very bright but has a very high temperature and density. Modern astronomy believes that white dwarfs are dying stars, rapidly shrinking in volume like a giant shrinking into a dwarf, hence the name. This knowledge about Sirius was gradually discovered by modern astronomy after the 20th century. So, the question arises, how did the isolated Dogon tribe in West Africa know about the existence of Sirius B? The answer Griaule got from the Dogon tribe shocked him even more. The Dogon told him that this knowledge was brought to them long ago by the Nommos. Who are the Nommos? They come from Sirius B, with human-like bodies and fish-like bodies and tails, being an amphibious species. In the Dogon language, Nommos means masters of water. In Dogon legends, the Nommos came down to Earth in a boat amidst fire and thunder. But because they could not live without water, they first built a reservoir on Earth and then submerged themselves, living in water thereafter. These Nommos were very noble, devotedly helping humans, teaching them how to live and how to establish an orderly society, embodying the image of a civilization's mentor. Griaule was petrified because he realized that mermaids or mermen might not be just pure fantasy, but could have actually existed, possibly as highly intelligent beings from beyond Earth, playing significant roles in human civilization. The Nommos described by the Dogon tribe are not unique in Africa. About 2,000 kilometers southwest of the Dogon tribe lies a small country, now called Sierra Leone, with an area of only about 70,000 square kilometers and little arable land. However, this country is rich in diamond mines, with potentially a third of its land containing diamonds. In the 1990s, Sierra Leone experienced a civil war, descending into chaos. Various factions, both legitimate and illegitimate, flocked there to take advantage of the situation, madly mining the land. Various groups were digging frantically in the land of Sierra Leone. During their excavation, they dug over 50 meters deep and found some statues, ranging from 10 to 20 centimeters high, made of granite and limestone. These statues had human bodies with crocodile or fish-like tails. The locals called these statues Nomoli, revered by the local tribes. Geologists determined that these statues, buried 50 meters deep, were possibly over 15,000 years old. The pronunciation and appearance of Nomoli were strikingly similar to the Nommos described by the Dogon. Even their origins in the legends were alike, both said to have come from the sky. The chiefdoms in Sierra Leone said that when the Nomoli arrived, the sky was torn apart, raining blue stones. He also said that if you could find these blue stones, you should be able to find diamonds nearby. People had always considered the chief's words as mythical tales until the 90s. The Skystone was discovered in Sierra Leone in 1990 by archaeologist and geologist Angelo Pitoni. Pitoni sent the stone for analysis to laboratories, and researchers concluded that the composition of the rock was unlike any other found on Earth, suggesting an extraterrestrial origin. American artist and designer Jared Collins tried to obtain a sample of the blue material ever since he first saw it in 2013. He had a sample tested at GRS Swiss Labs by Dr. Preety. After 15 months of waiting for the results, the doctor couldn't determine its composition and ended up returning it as unidentifiable. If we broaden our perspective globally, we find that mermaid worship is not limited to Africa. Hammurabi, the sixth king of ancient Babylon 4,000 years ago, is famous today for the Hammurabi Code. Inscribed on a black basalt stele, considered the first comprehensive written law in human society. In his time, ancient Babylon worshipped a deity called Dagon, who resembled a typical merman, though with a Babylonian face. In the 3rd century BC, a Greek historian named Berossus specialized in studying ancient Babylonian culture and wrote 3 books on it, one of which was called Babyloniaca. In his book, Berossus stated that the worship of Dagon in Babylon actually originated from the mysterious Sumerian civilization. In Sumerian culture, Dagon was known as Oannes. This image closely resembles the amphibious beings worshipped by the Dogon tribe, having a human body and a fishtail. Like the Dogon legends, Oannes in Sumerian mythology also served as a teacher of human wisdom. Berossus wrote that after the Great Flood, humans lived miserably, wandering like beasts. In the first year after the flood, a being with human intelligence named Oannes emerged from the Persian Gulf. His entire body was a fish, but he had a human head on top of his fish head and human feet below his fish tail. He also spoke with a human voice, claiming to be sent by the gods to help humanity. He mingled with humans every day, never consuming human food. He taught them how to write, established sciences and arts, instructed them on building cities and temples, compiled calendars, and taught them geometry. Oannes taught humans to identify Earth's seeds and how to harvest fruits. At sunset, he would return to the sea, being amphibious. There were 7 Oannes in total, helping the Sumerians, later known as the Apkallu, are 7 demigods. However, records about Oannes ended there, as Berossus lived over 2,000 years ago, and his other 2 books have been lost. Only fragments of Babyloniaca remain, so we cannot fully trace Oannes' origins. Nonetheless, the surviving description suggests similarities between Oannes and the civilization mentors in Dogon legends. This raises the question. The Dogon legends clearly state that their mermaid-like civilization mentor came from Sirius. Could the mermen and mermaids in Sumerian mythology also be related to Sirius? Our limited knowledge of Sumerian civilization has not revealed this connection. But the Egyptians had a clear understanding of Sirius, placing it in a significant position. In ancient Egyptian star charts, Sirius held a very important position. Egyptians used Sirius to create their calendar, as its annual rising coincided with the flooding of the Nile, guiding agricultural activities. The Egyptians revered the Orion constellation, whose belt's 3 stars align with Sirius, showing their reverence for Sirius. The influence of the Sirius faction on human history seems to have been disconnected in some cultures. Despite the semi-divine guidance from the Nommos, the Dogon tribe in West Africa remains relatively underdeveloped today, as does Sierra Leone. This leads to 2 possibilities. Either these African tribes have long forgotten their ancestral culture, retaining only vague memories, or the Dogon have moved out of Africa and created other civilizations without us even noticing. Feel free to leave your comments. If you like my video, please subscribe and share it with your friends. I see you in the next quest.